Hey, so here is a little bit more in-depth version of the explanation of what Jarvis is and like how it works. And I think I'll just go over like the different parts of the system and like explain how they are implemented in the Python code. So the first part I want to talk about is like how I can talk to Jarvis. That is actually split up in like two different things. First of all, a script that's like running in the OBS Python script thingy. That just allows me to set a hotkey real easily. That can be done differently. But basically what all that does is like if I press a hotkey, it starts listening to my voice. If I press another hotkey, then it stops and saves the entire thing as an MP3. And the second part is in here in the Python script. It just checks the last time that it knows that the MP3 file was overwritten against the current time that it can like check in the file. And if those don't match up, then it just knows that something new has been written to the MP3 file and then imports that. And then it sends that to OpenAI Whisper, which is a speech-to-text thing. So we get the text from what I've said. So that is where this is happening. Here we get the result of what I said. And we send it to ChatGPT using the function that was provided by DougDoug in his Baba Ganoush thing. If you aren't aware, DougDoug is a YouTuber and he has this system where he can talk to like ChatGPT characters that do all kinds of weird stuff. And he made the code for that public, and so like I took the part that talked to ChatGPT because it's working quite well, and yeah. So here we get the result of what ChatGPT answers, and for that it's important that I gave it these instructions here, which are like basically very specific instructions. If you want to call that, if you want to call a function, then like put it into curly brackets, and then the function name, then a comma, and then all of the arguments the functions needs to be written like that, with like the file name. And if you do lists, then do it like that. Actually, I think that might be irrelevant here, but doesn't matter. And so that is then put into this function that handles the input, and that checks for like these curly brackets and like transforms the strings that we get, or like the string, the one like answer from ChatGPT, transforms that into like function names and arguments and all of that. Now let's quickly go over the like built-in functions that are within the script. First of all, the speak function is just using the pyttsx3 or something library, here, this one, to just like generate a text-to-speech thing in the quickest way possible, which is just using the built-in, the like Windows built-in text-to-speech system. Just, does that. And here you could just use the engine.speak thing instead of save to file, but I do it like this because if you use engine.speak and you have like two messages quickly after one another, then the messages might overlap, and I didn't want to have to figure out how to deal with that. Instead, I just used a pre-existing system that I already had that like integrates with StreamerBot. Now, the second important function is the write to file function, which just takes the first argument and says that is the file name, takes the second argument and says that is what has to be written, and then writes that to the file name. Here I set a base path, so like all of the functions go into this folder. And yeah, this function might also be a little bit broken because I rewrote something yesterday. So like 5 minutes ago it was still that, but like that was a string that I used to separate like file name and function before, but like I rewrote that, so it should be that, but I haven't tested that yet. I will test it later. We will see if it works. So the next important one is the check functions thing, which just checks or like re-imports all the directories and then lists all of the functions that are in those directories yeah, it calls a couple of functions that do interesting stuff, and like at the end it knows which functions we have and like also which arguments they take. Like it doesn't know which data type the arguments have to be, but like for example in the script py thing, it knows that it needs a and b parameter, which if the function is called add numbers, then it can assume that those probably need to be integers or like floats or something like that. So now we've been over like when it wants to speak, when it wants to write a file, and like when it wants to check which functions are available. Also, the check functions, the important thing here is this function returns which functions we have available, and that list then also gets told to ChatGPT. So it's actually the file speaking to ChatGPT then, rather than me speaking to ChatGPT. So like I say, check the functions, and ChatGPT uses the command to check the functions. The file then triggers and checks which functions are available and delivers that result back to ChatGPT. So here, we throw that back to ChatGPT and then again handle the result of what ChatGPT says. And then, last but not least, if we want to call a function that ChatGPT wrote previously, then we land here, and that is still like very buggy, but in the best cases it works. First of all, it takes the first argument, which is like, if we look back into how it formats things, that is the function name. Throws that into a search function, which then figures out in which file that function is, and stores that value in the name current module. And then we go into call function with current module, the function name, and then the arguments. And if we now look at the call function, then we see that basically that is the important part here. If we don't have any arguments, then it just calls the function without arguments. If we do have arguments, then it does that. The thing here is that input data is always a list the way I coded it. There will probably be problems with that, but for now, like the thing that I tried yesterday worked like this. The star here is important because that sort of allows it to, I don't really know how that works, but like basically it turns the list here into, for example, AB in the case of the add numbers function that I tried yesterday. So like the input data is like a list with like A as the first argument and B as the second one, and that star allows it to like map to A and B in the function. So that worked well enough yesterday when I tested it. There will be a lot of exceptions where it doesn't work, I'm sure. But that is something that I will have to figure out once we get there. So that's currently basically the state of it. Let's also have a look at the search function calls function, which basically triggers like whenever ChatGPT answers, then we check the answer for if there's function calls. So like first of all we check if there is any function calls. If not, we just throw the entire thing in the speak function, and if there is function calls, then like basically we go over it, we look at all the function calls and like the associated arguments and like do the transfer into whichever data format everything needs to be. And currently it only supports integers, strings and lists, but that is one thing that I will do rather soon, that I will try to get it to accept like any data format so that ChatGPT can just throw whatever it wants at it. So yeah, and the arguments are always a list then here. Like the result of that is always a list. I don't think I need to go too much into detail there. I don't know. It basically just checks like always for the matching brackets. Like if it has an opening bracket, then again an opening bracket, and the closing bracket, and the closing bracket, then it knows like these two brackets belong together, and the inner ones also belong together, and it checks that and then like converts it to whatever it needs. Okay, another thing that might be interesting, it's also like in addition to checking the MP3 file, if that changed, it also checks like all the files in the directory that ChatGPT can write to. So like whenever anything gets written to that directory, all of the files get re-imported. That is happening in here. Like the re-importing part is happening in here. The like checking is actually somewhere else. I don't know. Yeah, and I think that's basically all I can say about the function at the moment. I will now try to actually use it. Let's see if it happens, because as I said, I rewrote some stuff yesterday and didn't check all of it. For example, the write to file thing I had to quickly adjust, and I'm not sure if that works, but we will see in a second. Okay, so let's open up Jarvis. So let's start a new conversation here. Hey Jarvis, can you check which functions are available?
Of course, I'll check the available functions for you now. Here are the functions currently available. 1 *** add numbers, A, B, ***. This function adds 2 numbers. 2 *** test underscore function, ***. Details about this function are not provided. 3 *** printist, ***. Seems to print a test message. Please let me know if you need further details on these functions or wish to use any of them.
Okay, I don't know why it formatted it like this, but okay. Anyways, what happened here is, first of all, it misunderstood its name. Then it checked the functions. Here it received the result of the check, and then it told me which functions there are. Okay, can you now write a new function that takes 2 numbers as an argument and then prints the result of the multiplication of the 2 numbers?
Certainly. I'll write a function that multiplies 2 numbers and then prints the result. Here's the function I will write. Definite multiply underscore numbers, A, B. Result equals a * B. Print, result. I'll proceed to write this to a file now.
Okay, I don't know why it wanted to tell me what it wants to write, but like here it wrote it. And if we go into this file here now, that seems pretty good. Okay, can you now call the multiply numbers function with the numbers 8 and 5?
It seems that the function I just wrote has not been loaded into the system yet, so I cannot directly call it. Would you like me to load this new function into our system first, or is there another task you'd like me to assist with?
No, but please check which functions are available. I think it's probably loaded in already, but you haven't rechecked since last time.
Understood. I'll check the available functions again to see if the new function has been loaded. The new function *** multiply underscore numbers, A, B, ***, has been successfully loaded and is now available. It takes 2 numbers as arguments and prints the result of their multiplication. Would you like me to use this function with the numbers 8 and 5 now?
Yes, please.
I will now call the *** multiply underscore numbers ** function with the numbers 8 and 5.
Okay, that looks pretty good. And 40. There it goes. Nice. So that worked. It wrote a new function and it called a new function. Very nice. Okay. So let's hope that it gets way smarter over time. But that's already... I think that's quite cool already. Yeah. So if you want to see how this project continues, then watch the stream on Twitch. Well, like, it's also on YouTube, but like, I prefer Twitch. Anyways, yeah, then just watch the stream and you will see how it continues. I do almost everything on stream except the little things that I just had to debug for this demo here. Okay, see you.